Hey Stampers, it's Wednesday and this is Maker Mornings with Meg, and we have another sunny day here where I live in central Illinois. If you didn't know that, I live in the middle of cornfields and soybeans, so we're all about harvesting around here right now. But also, since we have a sunny day, I thought it'd be fun to do a sunny card to go along with the 24-hour stamp sale. So link in the video description to go shop that, so you can check out those. Sorry. So you can check those out, and let's see. I don't know if everybody's, there we go. Getting notifications this morning. Mine didn't pop up right away. But I wanted to show the stamp set Daisy Garden, which is on that list. And this is a really great background stamp, which can also make a really great central image. And so I'm going to go ahead and show this along with Sunny Sentiments, which if you've been watching my videos lately, you know is really one of my go-tos. I absolutely love the greetings in this, especially the happy hello, which goes great with our very bright and sunny rainbow ombre card this morning. So I also thought that since the other day, this was a big hit, our sort of ombre Christmas card with the heat embossing, that I would go ahead today and use our heat embossing again, but instead of white embossing powder, we're gonna go with black embossing powder today. So I'm gonna give you some tips for that, and I shared some top tips for embossing the other day. So if you missed those, we'll talk about them a little bit, but you might wanna go back and check out that post too. So, all right guys, hey Melinda and Trish and everybody on this morning. I'm gonna flip my camera down and we will get started. So, oh, it helps if these are right side up for you. Okay, so we're gonna start off with a piece of Whisper White cardstock, or basic white cardstock. And I'm gonna go ahead and ink up my stamp here in Versamark. And again, especially if you've touched your face recently, we all have oils on our skins, and those oils will bring a lot of smudging onto our paper. So we wanna be a little careful not to touch our cardstock too much. So try to keep your hands off it. And this stamp is a lot bigger than our paper, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and use just sort of the bottom of our stamp. So I've got my cardstock on there, and I'm sure that that is nicely set. So there is our stamped image. And then I'm gonna do one more. I need a little piece here for our greeting. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this at the same time. I'm just gonna stamp this in Versamark also, with my slightly sketchy looking Versamark pad. And then you'll notice that I'm going to take this, close it, and set it aside, because you want to keep your powder away from your Versamark pad. So let's get these here. Now I'm bringing in a scratch sheet because I like to be able to get the powder off of my work surface. I don't want to have to keep using it or getting it on everything. And so I'm just going to dump this out. You can see I've got little scraps of paper that have made their way into my embossing powder, and then tap it off. And I know this is a lot easier to see today than when I did the white on white powder the other day. So I thought this would be a good example. And you can also see when I tap it with my fingernail, when you're using embossing powder, you can be pretty aggressive with the tapping to make sure that you get off those stray powder flecks, okay? I'm gonna set that aside, and then this is our greeting. And again, I'm gonna give that some pretty good taps. Now, when you use the heat and stick powder, it is a lot more granular, so you don't wanna tap nearly so hard. And then I would take this and I would fold this back up and put this back in, probably without that little piece of paper there. I'm not gonna do it now though, because it tends to overspread and I don't really want the embossing powder on my paper. All right, so heat embossing, 3 steps, right? First step, sticky ink. Second step, add your embossing powder. Third step, and you'll notice that I've put my extra embossing powder way far away, because the last step is to use my heat tool. And I apologize for the noise here, but the last step is to use my heat tool to go ahead and heat my powder. And you just want to give it a couple seconds to heat up. The heat tool for embossing is not like a hair dryer. You cannot dry your hair with this. It would be a really, really sad, terrible thing. When the Stampin' Up! Heat embossing tool first came out, it used to come with directions for stripping paint. So you can kind of get an idea there of how hot this is. And you'll notice that I'm keeping my fingers out of the way, and I've got it like at an angle. See my angle there? So that angle lets the hot air flow away from my fingers instead of like doing it all square, in which case the heat flows everywhere and my fingers can suffer. All right, now I'm gonna take my daisies and I'm gonna melt these too. And I'm gonna show you the early version of this card, which is just black and white, which is striking. And when you have something that's fairly large like this, you just wanna give it time to make sure you've melted all the way around. You don't have to worry about your Versamark ink drying before you can get everything melted. The Versamark stays nice and sticky for quite a while. Jenny said, oh, it sounds like a hair dryer on, yeah, I know, and plus I've got it up really close so you can see I've got my my air heat tool really close to the camera, which probably doesn't help that so much. But that's the great thing about like noise canceling on video these days. I think it does a pretty decent job, so you can hopefully still hear me. All right, let's see, I'm moving this around. Now, usually another trick is I go ahead and I move my fingers at some point because you're gonna have to emboss close to where you're holding on. And so there's no sense in like burning your fingers just because they happen to be where you're working. So get a good other corner done and then just turn your paper and work that angle from where you were working before or where you were holding before. All right, so I think you're gonna like this one too because the black on white is really obvious, and then when we add the color, it's really gonna make these images pop. So you could also do the same card with white embossing powder. The basics embossing powder come together as a set. Hi, Becky. They come together as a set, and so you get the black and the white, and I can't remember what other color's in there at the moment. All right, I'm just making sure that everything is heated. And if you missed the stuff about today being a special day for Stampin' Up! Land, today is the once a year 15% off stamp sale, and includes all of the red rubber cling mount stamps from the annual catalog. So, all right, so when you think you've got this done, there we go. When you think got this done, go ahead and take your finger and you should be able to run all the way across and there should be no grab. If your finger grabs someplace, that's a sign that that embossing powder is not completely finished. So especially since we're doing blending brushes, you would desperately want to fix that, but we've got it all done. And like I said, there's a link in the video description if you want to check out that stamp sale. The easiest way to check out what's on it is to just go ahead and look in the online store. All right, so here's our black and white version of this card, okay? So we could take our daisies, which are on the sale, mount them on a piece of the basic black, and then mount them on our card, and they are gorgeous. And then we can take our happy hello, which, let's see, I have my everyday label punch. You could use any label or die for this that makes you happy. I know it's upside down for you, but I wanna make sure I get my greetings straight. There we go. And so now there is the black and white version of our card, but are you guys ready for the color version? All right, I went pretty full on rainbow for this. So we're gonna have Granny Apple Green, we're gonna do Mango Melody, Melon Mambo, and Poppy Parade. And I've got my blending brushes here to get that all put together for us. So let's get these things out of the way. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with my Granny Apple Green. Blending brushes are a magic tool. I cannot say enough good things about them. They're super high quality, and you get 3 of them in a package. They're a good value. So what I'm doing is I'm picking ink up by swirling on my pad, and then I'm applying it to my paper in a swirling motion too, okay? I'm not gonna close that one because I might wanna come back and add a little more color. So next up is Mango Melody. Pick up your ink and then put it on your paper. Now, a lot of times I recommend starting off the edge of your paper when you do this so that you don't get a dark smudge, but we are going with super duper dense color on these, so I'm not gonna worry too much about the smudges because we're just gonna just burnish the heck out of these. Let's see. Oh, Jenny says this is magic today. I really, really love this technique, and these rainbows are super gorgeous. So, all right, so you can see I'm overlapping. I don't want a white smudgy layer between colors. So I am overlapping my color, and usually at the end I go back and I fill in any spots that look a little light. But let's go ahead and take our Poppy Parade here as our last one, and add a little color in here. The other thing blending brushes are great for is if you've just re-inked your pad, they're great for smushing that ink around in that firm foam pad to make sure you get an even coverage. So keep them handy for that. All right, now I feel like I'm a little light on the pink and a little bit less blendy here, so I'm gonna go here in between and blend the pink and the Melon Mambo and the Poppy Parade together, okay? All right, what do you guys think? Super saturated color, really, really nice way to add some color to this. So instead of a black and white image, I'm gonna get these guys a little bit out of the way. We are going to have a rainbow color here, and I'm gonna show you a couple more places that I'm gonna use this. So after a card, I'm gonna show you our embellishments and then our envelope technique. So, all right, so this is going to pop on here, and between the brayering and the heat embossing, I have just a little bit of wave to our paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my multi-purpose liquid glue because it gives us a really nice bond, and it's gonna hold our paper down all over the place. So I'm gonna take this and flip it to the other side, and let's see, do I have a big black handy? I do. This is kind of a sneak peek. I've been working on something. We have a stamp set coming. Here, I'll give you the sneak peek of it. A stamp set coming called Eden's Garden that will be out in November, so watch for that. But you also want to be careful. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Chamois. When you're working with so much color, you want to avoid transferring that color. So I'm just going to wipe my fingers. You want to avoid transferring that color onto your basic white cardstock. Okay. Now I'm going to take this, and instead of sticking it down flat, I'm going to go ahead and pop some dimensionals on the back. And we clearly are going to need some images here on the inside of our card. We need some color, and we're going to need something for our envelope. So, oh, hold on, Meg, we haven't even finished the front yet. Okay, so there is that layering, which is a really, really great way to set off those colors. So this little tiny thin black line is really important, and then this white here. And when we bring our greeting on, you can see how it just pops that greeting out because we have that black heat embossing. And can you see, it's just a little shiny. I do love my Memento ink for black stamping, but when I'm heat embossing, I'm always impressed with how just how shiny extra that technique is to just add some heat embossing. So I'm gonna line this up at the bottom so I have these parallel lines here. And then I wanted to bring in some kind of bling. I thought about sequins, but I really didn't want to compete with the color that's already on our cards. So, good morning to Oregon. My text is backwards. Oh my gosh, I didn't turn it this morning. That's so weird. Can I still fix that? There. Ah, there we go. Sorry, Sue. Thank you for the heads up. Oh my gosh, now are you guys all freaked out because we just totally flipped everything backwards? So now you can read the pretty stamp set. But I didn't want to compete with color, so I decided to bring in the Elegant Faceted Gems, which there's a gray one that's missing here. But these clear ones seemed like they would be perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop a couple of the larger ones down here, kind of below. And I'm gonna kind of stagger those. And then I'm gonna take maybe one larger one here. Oops, there we go. I need my take your pick tool. And then maybe 2 more up here, sort of as a scatter, because I like to do either kind of 3 or 5. We'll go with odd numbers. So there is just a little bit of extra sparkle that really kind of helps to set off that, that front of our card. All right, so now inside of our card, we have a couple choices. We have this fabulous stamp. We have extra greetings we could use. Happy hello. We could certainly make this a birthday card, hoping your birthday is filled with all the best things. That is actually one of my favorite sentiments for birthdays. Or we could do one of these. Thought you could use some thoughts. I know you've been out of touch. Thank you. Like, this is a great, if happy hello goes on the front, then here are 4 all occasions greetings that can go on the inside. But let's go ahead and make this just a little bit less specific. And for the inside, instead of, you could heat emboss again, but I'm gonna actually just go ahead and use my Memento ink, and we're gonna add some daisies here on the inside of our card. Oh, I just inked the wrong corner. So I don't need the whole, excuse me, the whole stamp. I'm going to lay this flat now. Super dangerous to be doing this when you've already done everything else. You wanna make sure your cardstock lays flat. If you've ever had a cardstock move when you put your stamp down, it's really frustrating because you get a smudged edge. So I'm gonna set this down here, and I'm just gonna add some daisies at the corner. Now, if I mess this up, I could still add a layer inside our card, but oh, that worked beautifully. And like I said, Memento Black is a great way to set off black stamping. So, all right, and then for our envelope, now usually when I'm working on envelopes, if I'm using Stampin' Blends markers, I don't like to color on the envelopes because that goes through. But the great thing about the envelopes and Stampin' Blends is that you don't have that problem. So you can go ahead and add some color here to your envelope and then still not worry about that coming through. So I'm gonna go ahead and embrace the edge line. So there you can see we have a really nice highlight at the edge with our color, and pop this on. And I'm not gonna maybe make this quite as saturated as we did on our card. But let's see, embracing the edge line and going here kind of in circles. All right, now we wanna kind of echo our same pattern. So I'm gonna grab my stamp again, and this time, let's see, I need this corner inked, and I'm gonna pop this one here on the bottom. So let's get this out of the way. You don't want your envelope to move, so make sure it's flat on the table before you stamp. And then we're gonna go ahead and stamp our flowers again on our envelope. So there is our background for our envelope. So like I said, this is a really gorgeous stamp set. The daisy set here is a single background stamp. You can use it on one of these giant blocks like this, or honestly, a lot of times with these big ones, I just leave them in the case and kind of use the case as my stamping surface. So in that case, what I would do is I would leave the stamp flat and I would bring my paper down on top of it. So you can go ahead and use them that way if you don't have a giant block. But the giant blocks are good for some other techniques and stuff too. And then Sunny Sentiments is our other feature set this morning, and this one is also on that same special. And you can read my writing now because I've turned it around. Sally said she wondered why I was left-handed. Yeah, you know, it happens sometimes. So there's like a little setting in a Facebook Live you have to pop to switch the sides of the video. So that's kind of funny. Tanya said she wondered, oh no, somebody asked another question. Did you wipe the ink off? So did I wipe the ink off the color? Do you mean off of the embossing? I didn't actually. Probably there's a little stray ink on top of that embossing because the embossed powder doesn't absorb any ink, it just resists it. But also when you are doing the burnishing like that across there, it generally tends to move some of that extra ink around. Okay, it's bugging me that my pink wasn't very strong. There we go. Okay. All right. So, and if you missed the colors on these, it's Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, Melon Mambo, and Poppy Parade. But the link in the video description has all of the colors and supplies and so forth labeled for you. So, all right, guys, that's Wednesday. So if it is not sunny where you are right now, I hope that having kind of a sunny card will brighten your day a little bit. And if it is sunny where you are, I hope you're motivated to do some sort of bright, cheery kinds of stamping today too. So let's see, I will be back on Friday with another project for you. And like I've said several times, don't miss the chance. It's once a year when Stampin' Up! Does this sale. Don't miss the chance to pick up some stamp sets, especially. So if I were gonna prioritize, I would especially pick stamps that don't have bundles with them, so that they aren't bundled with a die set and they're not bundled with a punch, because those you can get at the 10% discount price every day by ordering them with a bundle. But for these other ones that aren't bundles, this is a really great chance to kind of pick these up and stretch your stamping dollars just a little more, which I am always a big fan of. So you can use the hostess code. It's in the video description. Link is in the video description. And I really appreciate you guys supporting my videos by purchasing. So let me know if you had any questions. If you have trouble with any online orders today, just give me a holler and I am happy to help you with that. So, all right, guys, have a super wonderful Wednesday and I will see you guys again on Friday. Happy stamping all. Take care.